Alright, so this is the coding walkthrough for Prototype 0.8. Now, I haven't changed an awful lot in terms of code this week. It's mainly been refinement of the map, changing how things are positioned, and kind of fiddling with things essentially. But I'm going to go through what I have changed anyway, and I will also, of course, show you what I have changed in the way of code. So as you can see, if I just move about here, the map has been changed a fair bit. We've changed the orbital platforms from the standard building cuboids to cylinders. This is to allow for easier maneuverability around it, essentially, because if you think about it, you're orbiting in a circle, so it makes a lot of sense to have the orbital platforms as a circle rather than as the cuboid they were before, because one thing I found was that every so often I'd miss time my orbit or something and I'd get stuck on an edge of a cuboid or on one of the sides, and it would be quite difficult to re-engage orbit after that. So it's kind of a temporary fix before I can code it out. I've changed them as changed the shape to a cuboid. But yeah, so I think they'll probably stay around a kind of cuboid shape for the final thing. Put it this way, an actual, not cuboid shape, but they'll just stay a cylindrical shape for the final thing, I should say. Because I think the cuboid shape was a bit unnatural, really, for what I'm trying to achieve with an orbit and a circular orbit. It makes a lot more sense to have a circular cylindrical object that they're orbiting. But yeah, so we've also now got 4 of them, one there, one there, one there, and one there. So they're kind of in a bit of a square position. The idea is basically allow smooth gliding to each one, because the whole point of the orbit system is to be able to transition the map quite quickly. So that's what I'm kind of demonstrating here with the prototype. You can glide to there, and to there, and to there. You know, you can get around the map quite quickly. And we've also kind of pushed all the buildings together here, although we've left gaps so that the player can still glide through, like there. So the main reason for the buildings is to test out the collisions for this guy. Now, this used to be the Hydra, if you didn't already guess that. This is the enemy. Now, I've changed it from the Hydra to Cube, mainly because the Hydra's combat was quite glitchy, especially with melee combat, and I just wanted to see if it was actually the Hydra 3D model itself that was causing that, which it was, because combat is a lot smoother with this cube. So what I'll do now is demonstrate that. Alright, so as you can see, he's coming towards me. So, I discovered a bit of a bug this week, mainly being, as you can see, he's not... Ah! God, he's fast. It's a bit scary. But yeah, he's not so much a cube, as he is kind of a cuboid now, but if we go back here, he's definitely a cube. So, I don't really know what caused that. That was a bit of bug discovery this week. A bit strange, but, I mean, I guess we'll find out. But yeah, so if you look now, ranged combat, fire that off, get him down to about half health, and then sprint behind. Sprint behind. Ah, he hit me, bastard. Yeah, his turning movement needs a bit of work, because he turns way too fast, so I can't actually get behind him. Ah, no. Yeah. He definitely needs a bit of work, but you get the idea. He's turning way too fast for me to be able to catch. Thing is, he turns way too fast and I turn way too slowly. So as a result, I can't actually turn in to fight him at the back melee style. Right, come on. Yeah, I can't actually turn quick enough. Well, oh, I've accidentally minimized it. Go away. That was going to be a really good demonstration of that, of melee. Melee combat used to be very, very glitchy. Essentially, you go around the back of the Hydra and it wouldn't always work. It would be very buggy. And you'd be right up against the back of the Hydra and nothing would happen. No. I do think perhaps a cube wasn't the best. There we go. See that? Yeah, but you'd go around the back of the Hydra and, you know, you'd be spamming hitting the tail of him and he just, half the time he wouldn't take damage. I can never really figure out why that was. I think it's to do with just the quality of the 3D model made by me. But yeah, so melee combat works a lot smoother now. Every time you hit him, no matter how hard it is to get behind him to do so, but when you hit him, he does take melee damage, which is great. Obviously, from that demonstration, I definitely need to fiddle with the movement speed of me and the movement speed of him. But that's fine. That'll happen. There's going to be a lot of refinement in the next few weeks, and fiddling with that is definitely going to be one of the refinements. So yeah, I'll just demonstrate the orbit as well here. Up we go, and over we go, then gliding over to the next orbital platform. Gliding system works great, much better than the last one. And then up we go again, and gliding over to the next one. And then go through that. Ooh, I'm stuck in the orbit. Yeah, it's still a bit janky, needs a bit of work, but the main kind of, you get the idea, essentially. You know, it needs obviously a lot of work before it's finally released, but for demonstration of what it is, it's pretty good. So yeah, so that's the refined quotation marks, combat and orbital systems. As I say, they are still a bit janky and a bit buggy, but those will hopefully be ironed out in the weeks to come. So now I'll go through the little bit of code that I've done this week, and that's mainly introducing the 2 new disable orbital scripts. Now, as I mentioned in the previous prototype video, each one of these, the orbital platforms, needs a disable orbital script. Mainly because you can't call on other colliders from one script. So I couldn't just go into the orbital system here and go, hey, that collider from the Hydra, if that activate this boolean. You can't do it for some reason. Well, at least as far as I'm aware, you can't do it. As a result, in order to call the colliders, I need to have a script on each one. So this is pretty similar to disable orbital 1 and 2, really, that I mentioned last week, in the way that if the player collides with this orbital platform, the sphere collider here, then canorbit 3 is true. And if they exit it, and canorbit 3 is false. And then I've added a couple of lines here that basically say, if canorbit 3 is true, then add the force that makes them orbit, essentially. And the same with disable orbital 4, which is the next orbital platform. A little bit of line of code there. And they've also got the attracted to objects, which if I minimize this, go into here, these are the empty game objects near the tops of the orbital platforms, which the player is attracted to, essentially. And then if we go here, they've all been assigned down here. So yeah, that's pretty much everything that's been changed this week. This video's gone on for a bit longer than I thought it would. But yeah, I needed to go through how everything works, essentially. So yeah, as you can see, the systems are all kind of in there and working. There's obviously a bit of jank and a bit of bugs to iron out, but it's Unity, there are always bugs. But yeah, so far so good. Hopefully this will all be kind of ironed out over the course of the next few weeks.